What's goody, fam? It's your favorite Cuzzo's D.
And your boy DJ G.
And you are not vibing with
this Strings on Me podcast, baby.
Pull up, nigga.
Pull up.
We going. Hey, just to let y'all know, I got that grown man Paul. Not the $9 Paul. Not the $9.99 nigga. $11.99 niggas at BS.
My man. Yo, what we doing with it tonight, D? What we doing
tonight? We are talking about something that I feel is just as important as everything else we motherfucking talked about. But everything I say is real. It's raw. I'm cutting off. Right? We are talking about perspective.
Oh, man.
Perspective is, man, that shit's powerful. And personally, my beliefs, perspective falls in the spiritual element of your health, and within that element of your health, in my opinion, my beliefs, this is what I teach folks.
Your perspective now. Your perspective. My
perspective, niggles.
Yeah.
E-G-U-S. And then I made up another one, N-E-G-U-H, for just a single nigga. Niggas. But anyway, you gotta say it like you African. Say niggas, N-E-G-U-S, then you say nigga when you just talking to one motherfucker. Nigga.
Y'all heard that perspective, right?
N-E-G-U-H, nigga. But anyway, so in the spiritual element of your health, I feel like that's made up of three elements, which is your spiritual or religious beliefs and upbringing.
Yeah.
Then from there, it goes into your value system, which is pretty much contains your moral and your ethical beliefs. Mm-hmm. And from those two, the last part of the spiritual element of your health is your emotions, how you emotionally respond to something. And all that is based off of, one, how you raised, which is your spiritual religious beliefs. And from how those come into play, how they mold your value code, like your value system, your code of life. Everybody got a code that they go by, you know what I'm saying, that they're raised by. And from those two, how you respond to things are a direct effect of how those two impact you. So that's how you emotionally respond to things. You add those three together. Not only does that make up your spiritual element of your health, but it also forms your perspective. Because the way you see things is a direct connection to how you were raised, spiritually or religiously. Your upbringing is also in that. Your code of life, your value system, you know, what actually falls into morals for you. Like, what are your morals and how do you ethically, if that's a word, I don't care. How does your ethics fall into that? How do you actually view those things? And then how do you respond to them? Because when you respond to something, most of the time it's not logical. You start off emotional really quick. It's like a snap.
Right.
And if you don't have control over that, you always stuck on the emotional response and not logical. It's a lot of people that's logical and they're able to see a situation and they look at it from like the logical aspect of it, trying to make sense. But then it's a lot of people who are emotional, and every time they respond to you, it's an emotional response. And then there's some who got a great balance, but perspective plays a key in a lot of things. It actually plays a very, very important role on how you move.
Right.
How you make moves in this world.
I couldn't agree more.
It definitely plays a role because the way you view things and then that's a direct effect on your mental health, because the way you view things can shape that too. Yeah. So like I said, you know, I'm a holistic guru, so all of it's connected. But before I get deep, what you got, man? What's your thoughts on perspective?
Well, you know, man, I always tell people, especially when it comes to perspective, you know, you could be on the same mountain, right? But your perspective changes depending on what angle of that mountain you on. If you're going up, you know what I'm saying, you might see things differently when you're coming down, you know? And like you said, man, you know, when you're dealing with perspective, man, it really can shape a lot of different things, man. Like, I've been going through some stuff this week that's just been mind-blowing, man. You know, I'm gonna talk from relationship standpoint. Because me and my wife, uh, she really, man, taught me some things about myself that I ain't, I didn't really know. Um, and my perspective was, okay, I'm taking care of my wife, I'm providing for my wife, you know what I'm saying? I'm providing for my family, I'm being that man, you know what I'm saying? That husband, that father, right? But then it was a point where she was like, but you're not listening to us. You're not listening to me. And I'm like, man, what you mean? Look, I pay the bills, I do this, I do that, And she was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. You putting yourself up here, above us. And it kind of makes me feel like I'm not involved, you know, and it did something to me, man, because I'm thinking, man, I'm a good man. I'm doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? But in all honesty, my perspective of me being that man was not, how can I put this? I wasn't being the man she needed me to be.
There you go. I was going to say that, but then I knew you was going to get it.
Yeah, I wasn't being the man that so I wasn't hearing her. You know what I'm saying? And that messed me up, man, because I'm like, damn, what? No, how did I miss that, man? But you could get so caught in your perspective of the way you feel things should be. And on the other side, another viewpoint is that no, it really ain't all there, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's becomes stressful. I think you should throw that in, man, when it comes to your health, because a lot of people don't understand that your perspective does shape. It even shapes your stress.
Oh no, but nigga, that's a understatement. Understand?
Right.
You know what I'm gonna say? Cause okay, just to make that like sink in like an arrow, your perspective is a direct response to how stressed you are. Like they are linked because
Yes.
the way you see shit. Like okay, we got a cousin. You don't know him, but it's my man Cedric. He like his name Cedric, but Big C at large. He from Durant. Like he was related to Sweeto, and he through that end we family.
Right.
And he like when I got down here, he kind of once we found out we was fam, that's my man. We got real tight.
Right.
And he put a quote up years ago, but it was like stress is it's a choice. I'm paraphrasing, but it was like stress is a choice. It's just you have pretty much the option of letting something stress you out or not letting it stress you out, right? And that's easy to say. It's very easy to say. The way I break it down when it comes to the mental aspect of your health, the way I break it down is it's two sections. It's 50-50. You have controllable stress and uncontrollable stress. I tell everybody the uncontrollable stress always falls in these categories. It's financial, like having to deal with your job and shit like that. The stress from your job, that just kind of comes involuntary. Like you just have to deal with that. You stress from your family, sometimes your wife, your children and stuff like that. You just have to, that stress is kind of uncontrollable unless you just a real deadbeat fuck off. Like, man, I don't give a fuck about none of y'all niggas.
Right.
Then you ain't stressed at all. You're like, man, fuck y'all. And then like sudden like death, shit like death. So financial, family, and death are like kind of that's what falls into the uncontrollable stress. Everything else is controllable stress, even how you deal with it. Not immediate family, like maybe aunties, uncles, cousins, even mom, dad, things like that nature. Like you choose to stress out over anything that comes your way outside of your immediate family, like your family, your job, or like sudden death. And even some people don't even stress out over death no more because their perspective on it is death isn't the end. Death is pretty much the alternative of where you're heading. I read a book that I just added to the list of readings that I have people read when I train them, and it's called The Art of Living. I do not know how to pronounce the man's name who made it, but he a Buddhist monk. So you just type it in. It's like Teacher Nachikicha. I don't know how to say his name, but when I tell you that book is like on the level of the 4 agreements for me now, I probably won't get another book dealing with anything that's like self-development for the rest of the year. I'll probably just do what I normally do, is focus on that one book throughout the entire year. It's that powerful. But the way he like put that type of thing into perspective, it was a lot dealing with how you view things and how certain things are just so minuscule, but you choose to stay on it. Like he had an example of if he was arguing with somebody, right? And you have an option of sitting there and actually giving that energy to like argue with them,
Oh
especially
man.
like, and he's saying it as like a loved one, like maybe your wife, or
Hey.
you know what I'm saying? He put it in perspective of, all right, so you can sit there and actually give that energy to argue, or you can step back and then think about it in the long run. A lot of people don't think of like, okay, 300 years from now, you like 300 years from now, while you wasting this energy right now arguing with somebody that you supposedly supposed to love wholeheartedly, right? 300
Right.
years from now, they'll be ash. You'll be ash. 200 years from now, y'all be ash. 10 years from now, you might be ash. He said, actually, tomorrow you might be
Might
dead.
be right. Man, look.
He was like, so is it really? He said, from that standpoint, he was like, so even though y'all arguing right now and you might feel like your perspective is right, is it really worth doing that to somebody that you love?
That's exactly what I want to touch on. That right. I'm glad that you brought that up, man, because me and my wife went through that exact same thing this week. And that was one of the points she made when she said, you know, you not listening. The one thing she brought up was how I tend to always bring things up that's old. You know what I'm saying? And
You
from
one of
my
them niggas?
one of my perspective was when she said that was, well, you keep reopening the wound. You know what I'm saying?
So y'all
But
both one of them niggas.
but I had to think about it, man. When she said that, I was like, no, she really not reopening the wound. I am, because I keep bringing the shit up. You know what I'm saying? She ain't even that person. You feel what I'm saying? So my perspective, it when you, like you said, okay, your perspective might be right to you, but is it really worth the problem, the bigger picture, the issue at hand? You know, like I was talking to my boy Steve. Um, you know, we always talk about Steve.
Steven, like off Cable Guy. Steven.
I was talking to Steve, man, and you know, we was just conversating on some things because after me and her had that little debacle.
Oh, did you say debacle? Oh boy, that's a word. We got capital. Now we got debacle. Oh,
that little debacle, you know.
Oh, I am, nigga. That's almost as good as entanglement.
I know, right?
We having a little debacle over this goddamn entanglement situation. Bitch trying to get all my capital.
Debacle, you know, man, I felt bad, and I had went to Steve, and I was like, man, you know, I feel bad about what happened, you know, and I didn't really understand why. I mean, I understood it to a point. You know, I guess I had to get past my pride. You know what I'm saying?
I'll get back to it.
I had to get past my pride with it because I was like, okay, you know, what is it? What's more worth it, man? All she asking me for is to hear her. That's it. You know, is that really that hard to do? And you know, my wife, man, she don't talk much, so
you know,
how
that's
hard
another understatement. I had to pull teeth with China ass when I first met. I said, "Nigga, oh, you go talk and laugh with me. I don't play that. Don't play with me. Don't play with me."
I was thinking, like, you know, it's really not that hard, man. I need to put myself down and really look at what it is worth, so I can get a different viewpoint of this. And man, that's been just something that's been on me all week. And then I thought about something, man, you've been talking about with like time and stuff like that, right?
Buddy.
Okay, so you know, I get on my spiritual, so I'm gonna get on my spiritual just for a minute because you did bring up spiritual, you know, in this.
Let's go.
So, you know, we look at it like we waiting on God. You know, when we pray certain things, we waiting on God. You know, our perspective is, hey, he gonna come in his time. You know, or the perspective is, when is he gonna come on our time? You know, but in all honesty, time ain't really of importance to God because, like I said not too long ago, he already done it. I was telling my wife, I was like, I go to God and I pray to God and I say, hey, I want to be able to make, what I'm saying, big money so I could take care of my wife and my kids, right?
Right,
But I didn't
right.
start making big money until I married my wife. So, see, I'm sitting up there the whole time before that, like, no, man, I can't be. I can't marry you. And I remember being in that position, like, no, I can't because I'm not the man that I want to be for you yet. But God was like, your prayer was that you wanted to be able to do that for your wife. So how am I supposed to, answer that when you ain't taking the steps you're supposed to take, you know? We pray that, hey, we want, and that's a perspective that hey, we want certain things to happen and this is and this, but faith without works is dead. So it's like, okay, if you're not gonna do your part, then how am I supposed to show up? How am I supposed to show you what's already here? Am I making any kind of sense, bro?
Yeah, especially on that one. But in my opinion, when it comes to that, prayer for me is just a conversation with God,
Mm.
but it's more like reassurance. I don't know because it's like it's a
Yeah.
conversation that he knew was gonna happen. So it's
Yeah. Right.
like, all right, well, I know this is coming. It's almost like when you're a parent and you know your child gonna come to you eventually with that with whatever the conversation is. But as a parent, well, I know this conversation coming sooner or later, and that's when they sit back and be like, well, I was wondering when you was gonna come and
Right.
ask me about that. So, but at the same time, as a parent, most of the time you're prepared and everything is already prepared, like it's prepared for your child. Like, so I feel
Right.
like that same like logic goes into like when you pray. When you feel the need to pray, I hope that you understand that that door is already there.
Yes.
He's just
Yes.
kind of waiting on you. You like,
Yeah.
well, I've been waiting on you to like, say the right thing. No, you've been praying
Right.
to like
Right.
you're
Yeah.
getting there, but you're
Yeah.
asking for things,
Right.
but you're not really working that
Yeah.
way. So it's
Yeah.
like you're asking. And
Right.
I got the
Exactly.
door that I know you kind of want to go through, but you got free will, so I can't push your ass through it. But
Right. Exactly. But it's
I
open now.
I can't really lead you to it
Right.
like that. You know what I'm saying? But it's there. You just gotta actually want that. You know,
Right.
know what you want.
Exactly.
A lot
Right.
of people pray, but they're not really sure what they want. So they praying for things and they're not really sure if they want that or not. And then, sometimes people pray for things, they get it, and then it be the very thing that it just turns out to be like shit. And they're like, God damn, this is what I prayed for? And I think God just be sitting back like, yeah, but
That's what you asked for. Right. But I'm saying
yeah,
that's what I'm saying, bro. Like what I'm saying. Okay. My wife said you're not a good listener. Now I go back to I prayed to God that I wanted to be able to take care of my wife and my children, right? Okay. But outside that prayer, I was like, when that time came, I was like, no, I can't marry you because I'm not where I want to be. So I'm not listening again. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even listening in prayer. And a lot of people don't listen to their prayers. They know what they want, but they really not listening. So I'm not listening. And now I can't really get my affairs in order because what I prayed about was I want to be able to take care of my wife and my kids. But on the outside of that prayer, I was doing everything against it. You know what I'm saying? My perspective in the prayer was different than my one outside the prayer. My viewpoint in the prayer was different than the one outside the prayer. And they wasn't matching up. So until I put things in alignment and start really seeing the big picture, I mean, man, that was a loss for me.
Yeah.
But as soon as that happened, hey man, everything came into place just like it was. I mean, the next day, right after we got married, the next day, D, I got a call, ring, boom. Hey, you want this job? it was the next day, bro. You
Bro, it
know,
be like that. Like, all right, so when I really buckled down, like I said, like back, I don't know if I said it on here, but like when I first stopped working and we went to California, I had a 10-year plan. Like I wanted to trying to break it to the school system, use history because you didn't have to go back to get your master's to teach that shit. And I wasn't
right,
going to go back to school, go back to history so I can eventually become a guidance counselor so I can talk to the children and try to mold their minds so they'll know what they were worth and then eventually become a life coach.
right,
And I wasn't even, health was a big thing for me, but it was personal for me. Like I had a vendetta against personal trainers. Like I felt like they were overcharging people for workouts that wasn't really necessary, and that
yeah,
they had people on the hamster wheel. It's like, yeah, you lose 20 pounds while you're working out with them, but then you gain it right back. So you never really, and then you'll hire them again, but then you'll lose the 20 pounds. So like they had their credit that they can get you to lose it, but they wasn't giving you the tools to keep it. It's similar to, take a man, you take a man to fish, say you catch a fish
right,
for him, and for the
right,
day. But if you teach a man to fish, you learn for a lifetime. They wasn't teaching you how to fish; they was just taking you to fish. So
right,
it was like a constant hamster wheel with people. I hated that. So, and I didn't have it in my heart to charge people for them to be healthy at the moment. So health was a big thing for me, but I didn't know how to get around those things yet. And then
right,
on the other hand, I had always been working. I had been working since I was 15. So when Jay came to me and gave me the choice to quit and just come to California for a minute so baby could come too, because she didn't want to be away from us that long. It was like, what? I'm not gonna do this shit. But I had these goals. Like I wanted to be the life coach in 10 years. I had this. I was studying for the GACE.
right,
That's the test you got to take in Georgia for you to be a teacher. I was like,
right.
man, I don't know. But then I was also fucking tired and fed up with my job. Nigga, a manager of everything over there. They running your ass crazy. You got 50 plus hour weeks and
Right.
shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
man,
Fuck.
fuck this. I was like, wait a minute. She said I could quit. Like I had to get outside my body for a minute. Like nigga, and nigga was like, huh? I was like,
Yeah,
nigga,
man.
quit. You
Yeah.
right. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Nigga, I could grow no beard and then now I got this fucking miraculous ass salt and pepper beard coming in. I was like, man, I can't grow no beard in this bitch. They got me looking like I'm fucking 12. Yo, I'm about to quit this month. That was my main reason for almost quitting that motherfucking job every time I went to that job. I can't grow what? Oh, hell no. Y'all tripping. I'm a grown ass man. I can't grow facial hair, but a mustache, y'all trying to have me look like a porno star or a pedophile with just that motherfucking, just the top mustache. Don't nobody just have that shit. Don't nobody have that shit on. Nobody like that shit. But I was like, man. So I left. But as soon as we got to California, the opportunity for me to become a life coach was instant.
Right.
And
Right.
then I became one like within that same year around August, I got my life coach certification like that.
Right.
Then
Yeah.
also within that year, because of life coaching and him telling me, my life coach, he was like, yo, I asked him, I said, has anybody ever combined life coaching with like personal training? He was like, well, I talked about it with one of my colleagues, but we never did it. He was like, well, that'd be a great idea. You might want to try it. And then shit, boom, TGE, the Gumption
Yeah.
Effect, was formed right then after having that conversation with him that same year. About 6 months later, because it took me about 6 months to get my life coach certification, and then 6 months to actually do the online thing to get my personal training certification.
Right.
And all that came once I stepped out of my comfort zone
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and went against everything that my perspective,
Right.
what
You
I need
change
to be
your
doing.
perspective. Right.
Went against all my perspective. So like them doors that's open, they're open, but you have to be willing to step out of your perspective and look at the bigger perspective of why you're here, not
Exactly.
what you're
Yeah.
doing now. Like
Exactly.
what you're doing now is important because you only have the present, but you are here to do something. And in order to see how important that is, you have to step out of your your perspective and look at the world perspective of why. What are you here to do?
Yeah, you got to come out of the I in that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still learning, man. I had to come out of the I. But like you just said, man, your perspective, and this is what we want everybody to know, your perspective will shape your purpose too. You know what I'm saying? Like you just said, D, hey, you got to come outside of, don't be boxed in. Come and look outside the box, man. Because like I'll go back to that mountain. On one side of that mountain, it might look cold, snowy, but then on the other side, you might see a whole valley and it's sunny. Like you got to be able to shape your perspective from different viewpoints of life. And I love that you brought up that book, D, because, a lot of people get caught into religion and not really the spiritual, ness of things. Where even though, hey, that is what you say, it was a Buddha, right?
Yeah, it was Buddha.
Okay, well,
Buddha
even though
teachings.
that's that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, still you can learn a lot. Like I was watching Morgan Freeman had this thing where it was kind of like it was talking about
He was trying
different.
to find God. It's
Yeah,
on
yeah,
it's
yeah,
on
different
Netflix. Hey
related.
yo, that shit
Yeah,
fire.
it
And then
was
Morgan
fire,
Freeman
man.
talking is
Yeah,
period fire,
you know what I'm
nigga.
saying? And
And
I
I was going
said
around looking
it.
for God.
Yes, and it made me appreciate all
He
the
was
different
there.
religions because each one of them had something to offer that lets you know that God is wrapped up into each one. Like it was something, man. It was really something if you look at it from the spiritual aspect of it and not from all religions. Like we look at religions like they games. You know what I'm saying? Yo, that's your set, huh?
Kaji over here, nigga.
That is Holy Spirit. This is the word of God.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
You know what I'm saying? Like we spiritual game bangers. You know what I'm saying?
We Christians over her, nigga.
I know, right?
Now the biggest game bangers, nigga, the biggest killers were Catholics. Nigga, Roman Catholic
I
Church,
know,
nigga.
right? Right. Catholics the mafia.
RCs, nigga. You don't believe in what?
It's like,
Fuck these
damn.
niggas right now.
Right. When we go come out of that spiritual game banging and
Throw your C's up.
really be, yeah, uh, that show, man, I watched all of it and I was just like, man, this is some phenomenal shit right here.
Hey y'all,
But
it was on Netflix. So if you got
yes,
Netflix, it was on
please,
there. Both
yes,
seasons. Go check it out. It is fire.
it is fire from beginning to end. Each episode is wonderful, man, and it really like it puts it will change your perspective on a lot of things, man.
Well,
So
for me, it's like a good example
mm,
of perspective is the glass half full, half empty.
yes,
No, that's a good because some people see it as half full, some people see it as empty. But here's the keynote to take out of that is both people are right in their perspective.
right,
So
right,
and that's where people get caught up. That's why I always say I live in the gray. That's why it's a big thing in my coaching. I say, nigga, we live in the gray because we understand it ain't always about wrong and right. I don't like to focus on wrong and right in anything, not even in arguments. I tend to lean towards what's logical and then what's right. And I try to see it from other people. That put yourself empathy. Have empathy is a good thing to have when it comes to perspective. I'll give you an example. And you a tech geek, so watch this. I'm gonna try to flip this shit on niggas so they can see it from a different perspective. So let's say like you got a computer, right, and it catches a virus.
yes,
Like I think David Banner definitely used a similar analogy. But all right, so it catches a virus, right?
mm-hmm.
So you put, your Vista, whatever the fuck, your CC cleaner on there to fuck the virus up and eradicate it, right? That's what its job is to do, is to find this virus and eradicate it. Or
Right.
anything that might be similar to that virus or anything that goes against the system,
Right,
right? Or that computer, right? The
right.
hard drive of that computer, the actual, what you call it? What the fuck is the main part of a computer?
The motherboard.
The motherboard. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
It goes against anything that goes against the ways of the motherboard would be considered a threat or a virus, right?
Yeah.
So the only job of this system that you put in is to destroy and kill that virus. Rather, and then sometimes some things can come into the computer that may seem like the virus is a threat. Or that thing might pop on your computer and be like doom doom doom. When a nigga
Right. Exactly. It's
secretly
malware.
looking for shit that I don't be,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
hypothetically
Exactly.
speaking, if I'm looking for certain shit that I want for free, hypothetically
Right.
speaking. Not saying I do this. I don't do those things.
Right.
But hypothetically speaking, if I was looking for certain programs that I wasn't going to pay an arm and a leg and a soul for, and then this is a threat pops up.
Right. Exactly.
It throws that bitch away, right? All right.
Mm-hmm.
But you wouldn't look at that system as it being broken. You would look at it as it's doing its job. That's what it was made for, right?
Exactly.
Now, you could take that same perspective, and even though it's fucked up, you can look at it as that's the system of justice right now that we're going through, and we are the threats, whether we are a threat or not. Literally, we're not a threat, but because of the way the justice system and everything was constructed and why it was even constructed in the first place, then you will see that the system that we feel is broken isn't broken. It's just fucked up.
Man.
And it's not real justice and unjust. They were put and created to fuck us up. And pretty much, and even if we are in the system, even if we have people who are understand that it don't matter. You can have 1 billion black cops or anybody who has some type of pigmentation to their skin. The system is the system.
Right. Exactly.
And until you destroy the system,
right,
it's not broken. But see, we would say it's broken because our perspective is that it's fucked up because of our moral and ethic codes, our value system, and our spiritual religious beliefs, how we were raised. By the time we get to this area, our emotional response, because of how we were raised, it's like, yo, that is fucked up. Man. Because it directly goes against everything that the Bible says, if you're a Bible thumper.
Right. You know what, D? I'm gonna touch on
see how strong perspective can be?
Yeah, it's real strong. But I'm about to touch on something that you said too, bringing it back to the computer.
Oh shit! Yeah,
you said when that thing chimes in, and says alert, alert. You know what I'm saying? Your system. What people also got to understand is, are you educated enough to see that it is or it isn't a virus? Okay, because see, this is the other thing. I would know because, hey, I am a tech guru, right? I'm an IT. So, you call me and say, hey, this thing popped up. I'm not going to tell you that's a virus because it don't have to be. It could just be some type of malware or something that is a flaw in the system. You know what I'm saying? That's giving you a problem to make you think it's bigger. But because you're not educated enough, and I don't want to say you have an ignorance, but it is an ignorance there too. Okay, then you would think it's the whole system. So you become a part of the corruption with the system instead of a resolution for the problem. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big perspective too. What we going through right now, as even in our race, you know what I'm saying, with the system, is that, you gotta have some sense of what's the word I want to use, D? Well, I guess I use the same one I've been using. You got to be educated enough to see,
Enlightened.
You got to have some enlightenment, man. But you cannot have that just being boxed in. You ain't going to ever see it. You will see all the problems and the issues and this and that, and there's a lot of them. But you will never see that point of, does that really look like that? Or is it something else? We need to educate ourselves more on the system to be able to either try, which I don't think is possible, to fix their system, but I do believe it is possible to build our own.
Nigga, Is
You
it?
feel right? You know what I'm saying? Which me and you've been talking about a whole lot lately. I might not can fix their broken system, but if I'm educated enough and I'm not just constantly looking at their system, then I probably can build my own system. But you know, D, that's what I do anyway. I got a problem with one. It's got a virus that damn bad in it, and guess what? It's outie. I'm going to build me another system. You know, so perspective, even on that point, is hey, educate yourself. Like my brother said, you know, read, learn. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever stop being a student. Have a student mentality so you can have different viewpoints in life, man.
It's
You
a
know,
saying. I can't remember how it goes. So I'm gonna paraphrase, but it's like learn as if you will live forever, and live as if you will die tomorrow.
man, what D? What you just say, boy? Look, I think I just said that to somebody this week. You know, as a matter of fact, I was asked that question, like my perspective on death. You know, and I said to them, I said, what if? Okay, you know, we always pick our best death. Like, how you want to die? I want to die, you know, laying in my bed. I want to go out in my sleep. But what if you picked your worst death? How would you live your life? Like, if I said my worst death, I'm going to get shot in front of my wife and killed, right? That's my worst death. My best death is, hey, I'm going to die in my sleep, right? But let's say I chose my worst death as being, I chose the end instead of choosing the beginning, right? I choose the end. I look at the end and I say, if I'm an end like this, then how am I going to live my life up to that point? It'd be different.
Very cautious of alleys.
Yeah, most definitely. But it'd be different. Think about that, D. It'd be different.
Well, that's how a lot of didn't mean to cut you off, but that's how a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but if you read a certain amount of books, they'll tell you to have the end in mind.
Yes.
So
because the end, yeah.
Or live like the end, like have the end in mind. It's a lot of people who will tell you if you're striving to become something or working to become something, act as if you're already that, and then implement that you. Like if you're trying to be a CEO of a business, don't wait till you become the CEO of a business. Act as if you're the CEO of a business right now. Implement that feeling of accomplishment now, and go with that energy.
That's right.
What I'm saying?
Right.
But you always keep the end in mind because it definitely shapes you now.
Oh yeah, but you know, a lot of people is afraid to even look at the end.
That's retarded. I don't understand that because
but they are afraid to look at the end. They're afraid to talk about death. You know, even think about it. Even when you go to church, most churches ain't preaching on Revelations.
But you know, well, it's been a while since I've been in the church. But,
you know what I'm saying? I mean, but I'm just saying, most of them not. They're not even going to that part of the Bible. And it's not that it's bad. Hell, yeah, you coming into the greatest part or the worst.
Actually, I would say, I don't think it's the greatest or the worst part. When it comes to me, when it comes to death, one thing I don't know, and I ain't never talked to nobody who did die, they can tell me. But
well, you know, D, I said that too to somebody. I said, what makes you think? See, we think that God looks at death like, is that really his wording? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think you really die.
Right.
I don't think you transmute.
What
I like to think is you transmute into energy. You just go back into the form of, all right, so
I think
another Buddha teaching.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Another Buddha teaching is you don't really die. You just you transmute your energy into like whoever else is in your lineage. So it's like you are your grandparents or your great grandparents and their great grandparents before them. It's just a continuation. Like they even took it to the point where it was like, your birthday is just a staple of when you manifested into the lifespan of your lineage.
Right.
So when your birthday come around, it's the staple of when you manifested, but everybody who's been a part of you to create you is in you, and they continue to live through you. My
Right.
thing with death is inevitable. So it's almost like why focus on you dying when you can focus on how you're living.
Well, see
Like,
that. Oh, go ahead, bro. I'm
oh no,
sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, I'm with the point you just touched on. I don't think people focus enough on dying. They don't, because that's what I'm saying. Like maybe you would live your life a certain way if you did. Most people don't even want to touch that subject. They don't want to touch death. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to look at it like me and you talking about it tonight. Like you know the saying, everybody want to go to heaven, but don't nobody want to die. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody wants to. You ask anybody, yeah, I want to go to heaven. Yes. Okay, well, how are you expecting to get there if you never really think about death? Most people, they don't, you know? And
I hear you.
it's the selfishness that's there too, man, because, okay, like you see a loved one suffering real bad, and you don't want them to die, but you never ask them. You never ask what God really wants either. And then you get mad if God don't answer your prayer, you know what I'm saying, in the way that you wanted him to, okay, if they should pass away. But in all honesty, that was their appointed time, okay? And they might not wanted to be here suffering and going through pain, but you don't ever ask them questions because you get wrapped up in how I feel about it, my perspective about it, that, hey, no, they can't go. You know what I'm saying? And that's a perspective too, man.
Well, I feel where you're going, and with some of those things, I definitely agree. And some I have a different perspective. It's like when it
Yeah,
comes to
right,
death.
right.
When it comes to death, for me, I didn't really need a conversation or a focus on death. When I knew it's inevitable. For me, death is part of
Right.
life.
It's
Like
gonna
I
happen.
told you
Right,
before in the get go, the time I took my first breath, my countdown to death started. Right
right, right.
now, you literally have an option on at least doing your part to prolong yourself, this vessel that you're in, as long as possible. You have an option on once you get to a certain area or a certain stage in your life to not put yourself in situations
Oh yeah.
where death can come
Still
find
got
you
free
swiftly.
will, man. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
death is there. It's almost, it's like death is as certain as air. It's as certain as you're here. So I don't see a point of focusing on death. I would never focus on death because I know I'm gonna die. That's inevitable. But before I die, my main focus is, did I do what I was put here to do? Because I know I'm going to transmute. That I'm going to transmute regardless. There's nothing you can do about that's there.
Right.
Period.
I mean, the
Nothing you can
thing,
do about that.
like you said, D, and I'm like, man, look, I agree with you because, okay, to God, is it really a beginning and an end? I mean, is it really?
Not really.
No, it's
No.
not. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's not a born or death with him. You know what I'm saying? It all is wrapped up in one. He knows it, beginning, middle, end. It's not this and this. Like you said, the real totality of the whole thing is, hey, your purpose. You here for a purpose. You designed to do a certain thing. It's like a battery is designed to charge something, right? Put power to something. But hell, this day come where it runs out, and hey, all you do is you replace it with another battery. It didn't serve its purpose though. You know, but do you look at it like when I popped this battery and this was the day it was born? Don't nobody look at when it was manufactured. You know what I'm saying? When it dies, it's out the window. It's I don't
Bruh.
think it's that, big. That's all I'm saying. Like God don't look and view it like people do. You know, he don't view it like people.
Well, you understand. Well, like you said a little while back, when you like God don't have to look at time because God is
Don't.
eternal and so it's time. They both synonymous with eternal, like that doesn't end. There's no beginning. It's infinity. But
Right.
for people, because we know that we have a time limit, most people, they will focus on stuff like death, and they'll get caught on stuff like they get caught up in that and start losing time pretty much. You can lose time focusing on can I like death. If I had to put it in perspective, like you can lose time focusing on death. Things
Right.
that you can't change or
Yeah.
stop. You shouldn't divest so much energy on it. Just understand that you will die one day.
Yeah.
No one knows when, but your time will come one day. But do as much as you can righteously on your square,
Right.
according to your moral code,
Right.
and do your best to fulfill your purpose once you find it. You know what I'm saying? Like, since you know your time is coming, then you know that you should make your time count. So figure out what you can do. How can you change the world to make it better for
Yes.
the people, your why? Like,
Yeah.
what is your why? Figure out your why, and how can you make the world better for your why? My why is my family. Most
Right.
people, why is their family, right? Like you said, you pray to God that you want to make more money so you can be able to take care of your wife and kids. Your wife and kids obviously should be is probably your why then.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you
That
get
is a
older, you
lot.
realize like so what a lot of people then you get to that guy will probably could hit you back with, well, what's a lot of money? You know what I'm saying? Like people ask
Do it
like what's
now.
rich? Like
Right.
perspective. What is rich to one person is not rich to another. Rich to one person could be millions and billions of dollars. Rich to me is financially stable enough to where I'm straight and my daughter's straight, my wife is straight. Nigga, you can give me $100,000 salary, a $50,000 salary, nigga. I didn't live off a $20,000 salary,
Right. Exactly. And
and
look.
then okay, so like
Right.
my idea of wealth and being rich isn't a material thing. It's a spiritual and a they're okay. It's like an emotional thing, a spiritual thing for me. It falls in my spiritual element of my health that my idea of rich is not a physical thing. It's a all right, we good. You know what I'm saying? If we
Right.
good, she good. You know what I'm saying? A lot when you arguing, like all right, so if everybody argues, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it can be a lot less stressful if
Yeah.
you can find empathy and just take yourself out the equation and
Right.
put yourself in not just the person's shoes that you arguing with, but then step outside of their shoes and then look at the bigger picture
Yeah.
beyond the argument.
Right.
It's like, all right, I'm arguing about this shit. In her mind, she feels like she's right. And you know what? Based off of her spiritual beliefs and upbringings and value system and emotions, she could possibly be completely right in her mind. Just
True.
like you completely right in your mind.
You
But
know
what's
what, bro?
right for the situation?
You know what, bro? I got to touch on that too. You know, me and I'm gonna do this analogy. But it's okay. Like this perspective on marriage, right? We know it's an institution, right? Okay. Now you also know that college, it's an institution, right? Prison is an institution, all these institutions, right? Okay. Now, if you want to graduate, you might not like every class you go to. Some of them motherfuckers you hate, right?
Facts.
Okay, some of them you hate, but you know you need that in order to get to your goal, right? So you're not gonna just quit the class, because if you do, then I mean, hell, you didn't really damper what you're trying to do for the institution. You know, like we was just saying, or you was just saying, you argue, but are you really looking at the institution? What's your perspective on the institution as a whole? Because I need to pull myself away if I want to graduate this. I need to, even though I don't like this class, and you could very well be right, about the class. Man, I hate this class. The teacher, you know what I'm saying? Don't think much of me and you're going to fail me anyway. Every time I look around, I know I've been studying all night and I still ain't passing. But something in you is going to say, but I need this because I got to get the hell up out of here. You know, I got to get to the point where the most important thing, me walking that stage.
That's that back against the wall point. Well,
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
have to
yeah,
get
yeah.
to that point, but most of the time when niggas do get to that back against the
Yeah.
wall point, you gonna push through.
Oh, you
Or
going to push.
I mean,
Yeah, you going to
gonna
push.
push through.
Man, you going to be up, look, late night. You know how it is, man. You know?
I knew how it was, but I mean, I'm up late night now, but you know, it's because I know what I need to do. I put
Yeah.
it to you like this. All right, so because this is something that I'm gonna put out there anyway, but it's like 78 billion people in the world, right? So that can make, and it's growing. So some people have the perspective of it's 78 billion people in the world, and then, you know, what does it mean? I'm just one person in that. So I'm gonna do what I do,
Right.
and I'm gonna live my life. You feel me? And they live their life. But the way I look at it is, it's 78 billion people in the world. But I'm the only person who can do what I'm meant to do.
Exactly. Right.
And what I'm meant to do directly
Right.
affects those 78 people and billion people in the world.
Right.
That's how important it is. That's how important everybody is when they really buckle down and look at it for what it is. Yeah, it's 78 billion people in the world doing what they do. And you can feel minuscule and small, but you're meant to do something.
That's right. And then look.
So if you don't do that one thing, you can directly fuck up 78 billion people.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Because you didn't do what you was meant to do.
Right. You ain't helping. You know what I'm saying? And look, man, I even bring it to another point that you made. I got a friend, man, out in ATL, a man named Brandon. And, man, Brandon, what we could consider rich, like this guy is loaded, right? But I was talking to Brandon one time, man. I'm up at his house, man. I'm like, dude, you got it made. Boy, you got everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking around his shit, man. We on his basketball court, pools, and all this shit. I said, man, look at all this you got. And he looked at me and was like, no, you got it made. He was like, man, you got a wife. You got kids. He said, man, I can't trust nobody. You know, his perspective, and now he paid, but he still wasn't rich.
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, he still wasn't rich. His perspective made me look at mine. Like, my perspective off. Because, hell, this rich man don't think he rich. He want what I got, that's rich to him. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, the perspective of, well, what's really rich in your eye? You know what I'm saying? And not everything in your eye is what it is, man. What's that saying? Mama used that saying all the time, D, about believe nothing that you hear and only half of what you see. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of perspectives are shaped around that too. Like, for instance, I'm going biblical. Solomon, the wise man in the Bible, right? And you can find this in 1 Kings, I think it's chapter 3, 16 through 28, I believe. But it was two mothers who came in there. Both of them.
Off the dome.
Right. Both of them was claiming that this one baby was their baby. You know, both of these two ladies, they was trying to convince Solomon that they was this child's mother, you know. And one of them was just crying, weeping, like, this is my child. And then the other one was like, no, she wasn't crying nothing, but she was like, this is my child. So Solomon sat back, and then he looked at both of them, and he said, you know what I want y'all to do? He said, cut the baby in half and give her a half and give her half. Now check this, D. They fighting because one of them is the mother. And one of them is not the mother, but they both saying they are, right? So when he said cut the baby in half, one of them was like, yeah, cut the baby in half. And the other was like, no, don't cut the baby in half. And then Solomon said, that's the mother right there. The one who is crying out right now, that's the real mother. Give her the baby. Perspective, bro. You know what I'm saying? Think of that. Think of how you had to look at that. He wasn't really trying to cut the baby in half, but depending on your perspective, that believe nothing that you hear, only half of what you see. Like you said, I don't look at the right or wrong. I look at the logic of it. You know, your perspective can shape a lot of shit. It could have shaped that situation.
That's more so pressure plus perspective. It's like,
Yeah,
whose
it's
baby is? But no, pressure busts
yeah.
pipes to make diamonds, though. That's the same thing with what you were saying. Like you're back on the wall if you're going to push through or not. Oh, it's your baby. Oh, it's your baby. We're going to cut this motherfucker in half. And both of y'all going to have, y'all choose who get the head, who get the feet. You know,
right, exactly.
Easy peasy. All right, cut that motherfucker in half. Let's get it. And then he's like, no, nigga, wait.
Right.
That motherfucker like, sure. Surely ain't no mother, like a real, ain't no mama
ain't no
be
real
like,
mother
yo.
don't be like that.
Yeah, cut that motherfucker in two. I never liked his feet anyway.
Shit, I'm gonna get mine, you know? And it just like, damn. But that's some serious shit, man. You know?
I mean, that's one way. But like it's more like they say, it's more ways to skin a cat. Pressure always reveals.
Pressure gonna reveal it, baby.
But it should, in most cases, once you get over your pride, because most of the time, most of the time when it comes to situations of perspective, people just don't want to step out and let go of their pride because they feel like they're submitting. Like, no, I ain't backing down. Niggas don't want to back down. Like, I ain't backing down. I ain't backing down. But it's like, is it really that important? Like, all right, so me and my wife, I get tired of motherfuckers being on the defense. Like, cause sometimes that can you can't even communicate when motherfuckers stay on the defense.
Right.
So it's like, nigga, you feel like you talking and then the other motherfucker feel like you arguing. It's like, no, not really. I'm just trying to have a conversation.
Right.
But since you on the defense, it's going to feel like an argument. I don't really give a fuck. What is it with me? Because half the time when it gets to that point, unless I just really got to go there, I walk away and I'll play out the whole convo in my mind. Again, disclaimer, that's just the way my mind works. I play out the whole convo in my mind. Every evil, mean thing I could say, I get it out there. Because most of the time when you in that state, you say some real mean shit. And then, like word to the wise, don't ever go into any type of situation with someone that you're supposed to love. Man, mean with it, like, and you angry because you're gonna say some shit that you might not mean. All right, and even you're gonna say some shit that you're gonna regret.
I'm gonna add to that, D. Okay, because I hurt my wife. You know me. I go into the red.
Yeah, you go gusto.
It ain't. Now, I don't want to say this, y'all, because when I say that, okay, disclaimer, I'm not abusive or nothing. I just go ham. You know, and that's an issue of mine. I got anger issues, you know what I'm saying? And I've always had them, you know, like my brother tell me somebody messing with him, it ain't no talking. It's just, I'm ham, you know, I'm from here to here. But I have learned, you know what I'm saying, that I got to be better, man. You know, like you said, D, you'll walk away and think about the whole conversation. Me, I'm gonna have a conversation and walk away. Now, my wife, on the other hand, she like you. She going to shut completely down, don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? But then she comes and tells me, I don't say nothing. I want to come to you, but I don't because you ain't gonna listen to me no way.
Hilarious. My wife tell me the same thing, but she's like you.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah. You know, it's like,
nigga, you can tell me what the fuck you want to tell me, nigga. I ain't the one that's about to snap the fuck out.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
But I get it though. It's like you have to have a lot of empathy. You have to be able to put yourself in the shoes of someone and then step out of those shoes and your shoes and then go for the bigger picture. Right. It's like you can have this debate or this argument. Yeah, you can go ahead. But it's so much more energy wasted on staying angry to stay in the argument for argument's sake or for pride's sake or for point's sake than it is to look at it from their perspective, know that your perspective is not wrong necessarily, but you know what you, and then you come to an understanding that we have different perspectives.
True enough, and that there's a bigger perspective than both of ours.
Exactly.
You
So
feel
it's
what I'm
like we
saying?
have
Like, yeah,
different perspectives.
yeah.
So,
I mean, like
all
for
right.
instance, what you just said, D. Now, on the flip side of that, I can get past the argument and be fine. You know what I'm saying? Right after, you know. But my wife, you know what I'm saying, it might linger with her sometimes because and she looking at me like, how in the fuck can you come and just be, you know what I'm saying, okay after what just happened?
Well, that's that Cancer. But but see, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm a reformed Scorpio, so I get it. Scorpios, nigga, I can hold on to a motherfucking grudge for life, motherfucker. Like I will hate your ass for life if it comes down to it. But I'm a better man now. So it's like,
I mean, it's like I explained to her, man, because it makes me feel bad. It's not that I want to argue, fuss, and fight with you. Shit, I love you. But
who the fuck wants to argue? That's
right.
my thing.
But my thing is, shit, when I'm in that mode, I'm just there. I'm all in. You know what I'm saying? I hate that, but I am. It's a Godwin trait, y'all. I'm sorry. It's in all of us. You know, Godwin men is just like that. But
You can change.
I can. Man, I changed a lot, D, over these years. I really have.
Yeah,
You
you
know
have,
what I'm saying?
man.
You know, I
Mentally,
have.
physically, and
Exactly.
you can change it, motherfucker. But you have changed. You have changed as far as that temper. I know
I
for
mean,
real, nigga,
I
you are a changed nigga. Only other nigga I know more changed than you is your father.
I told my wife that. I said, babe, you think you know me in that way, but I promise you, you don't know me in that way. You know what I'm saying? You don't know me. You think right now, just imagine if you knew me then.
Yeah,
I done became much better. I'm still a work in progress, man.
before
Like,
the gray hair.
yeah, she say, you know, man, hey, you know, you act like your shit don't stink. And sometimes I do. I will admit. Sometimes I do act like that, you know. But it ain't just with her. That's around the board, you know. But I'm working on that too. Cause I know my shit do stink. You know, and you know me, D, I don't mind airing out my shit. I know, you know what I'm saying? I done fucked up and done a lot of shit. You know, I'm pretty much of an open book when it comes to that. So I don't ever feel like, you know, I'm not telling my shit because, you know, everybody that know me, they know my shit. You know, I don't have to tell you it smells. And so I
Man,
don't
just
ever
like,
touch that
bro,
because shit I know it's stinking.
at
You
the
know?
end of the day, I just be like, man, look, my mindset is the four agreements. Like, that's what I look, nigga. I'm going to keep my motherfucking word. I'm
Right,
going
exactly.
to try my best not to take nothing personal. I don't assume shit, and I always do my best. So at the end of the day, I'm not judging you. You know what I'm saying? I don't even give a fuck about being right or wrong. But if the shit don't make sense to me, I'm gonna tell you it don't make sense to me.
Right.
And we can talk it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the temper type. Like, it take a lot to get me to the point where my temper takes over any situation. It got to be like direct family type shit. Like, you got to fuck with my family or one of my loved ones.
Right.
Other than that, or directly threaten me to where I can't get back to my family or my loved ones.
Exactly.
And then I go black. But other than that, I can sustain and we can talk this shit out because obviously you might not been how I've been. Look, you need to put two people in the same situation, like physically, but based on the village that was around them, they can come out differently.
Right.
So I get that area. And look, it takes a lot, but once you learn how to step out of your perspective and be able to see it not in just your perspective and the other person's perspective, but in the bigger scheme perspective of, all right, so how serious is this really?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is an argument that you might be having or a debate that you might be having, but how big is it on the scale of life or your time? Like, how big is it on your life and your time? Like, is it worth the energy that you about to divest into this? Because if it's not, fall back, look at it from both perspectives and be like, you know what? Hey, look, we can either agree to disagree, or I'm not finna put no more energy to this shit. So you can sit there and be as mad as you want. I'm gonna go this way as long as you ain't making no direct threats to me or my loved ones. You can fall the fuck back, or you ain't directly fucking up my shit. Yeah, go on, feel how you feel, but I'm not finna give you no more energy.
You know something, bro? This something else. When I was talking to Steve about this situation that happened between me and my wife,
Steve.
and the one thing I told him, and this was really not for me and her, but it came up, and I told him, even in the moments where, you feel like, man, I just, what, fuck it, I could quit and go on about my way, and what I'm saying, she go her way. What has always stopped me is God ain't tell me that. You know what I'm saying? And it was so crazy, D, because I'm talking to her the other night, and I asked her, I said, well, let me ask you a question. What makes you stay? You know what I'm saying? If you feel the way you feel. And you know what her answer was?
What?
God ain't told me that.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
So we had the same perspective in two different perspectives. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. We had the bigger perspective and then two totally different perspectives down here as far as me and her. But the bigger picture, we were in sync.
Well, I tell you what, you know what, we gonna end this on this, and then we gonna do that old Berg salute, because I'm gonna say the scripture this time.
Oh shit! Praise the Lord.
Because it's the only motherfucking scripture I really know by heart. So y'all can judge me if you want, goddamn it, but guess what?
Please take us to church. Come on, take us to church.
I'm gonna take you because my godmother, Karen, gave me this gift. She gave me the scripture on the keychain, and it stuck with me all through high school, all through life. It's Jeremiah 29:11.
The weeping prophet. Yes, Lord.
For I know the plans I have for you, declared the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you, to give you hope and a future.
Yeah.
And that was so powerful for me, because at the end of the day, no matter what I thought or what anybody else thought or what I was going through, and at the time when I was thinking I wasn't going to make it, or, you know what I'm saying, or when I made it through, like, it was some bullshit. At the end of the day, I have my perspective. Everybody, the saying is you have your truth, then the other person has their truth, and then it's the truth.
That's right.
So it's
That's right. That's the perspective.
At the end of the day, you have your perspective, they have their perspective, but the Most High, God perspective is always, I know what plans I have for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it don't matter even what you think.
Right.
Or what they
don't
think.
matter.
I know what plans I have for you.
Exactly, man.
And those plans are to prosper you and not harm you.
That's right.
So have hope, because I'm switching it, but I'm just saying it in the way you get it. So have hope.
Yes.
Because those plans, you have a future.
That's right. That's right.
Because those plans are to prosper you, not to harm you. So have hope, because you have a future. Because those are my plans for you. So you don't have to pray for me to get you to where you feel you need to be, because my plans are already for you to be where you're supposed to be.
That's it, brother. Look, preach.
You feel me? That's all he's telling you. That's why when you pray, I understand why you praying, because you searching for that answer. You searching for that confirmation. Right. It's already been confirmed.
It's already there, baby.
It's already confirmed. So it's like having a redundant conversation. It's like when somebody, if you like where I work at, I always had this manager named Robert who used to get on my motherfucking nerves. He'd see me stocking like frozen food, and he'd come up and say, "Oh, so you're stocking frozen food? What the fuck? What the fuck do you mean? Like, what the fuck is? What you think? No, I'm stocking bakery, nigga. Yes, I'm stocking frozen food." It's like redundant, right? So it's like you praying for these things, but on one end, if you don't get them, what if it wasn't what it was meant for you to have? Like, figure out what you're meant here to do. It's something that you've been doing that you just ain't really paid attention to it and took it to the level that you needed to take it to. So figure out what you're meant to do. Figure out your purpose, and then start praying from that point.
That's it.
To fulfill that purpose. It's like, all right, I got my purpose, Lord. I get it. I know why I'm here.
I know your plans.
So me and you, I know your plans.
I know
Now
your
my prayer is for your plans, and now
Right.
that I know that that's my plan too,
Right.
let's get it
Not
going.
my perspective.
Is your
Not my
perspective?
will.
It's like
Not
my perspective is your perspective as far as
Right.
my purpose
Exactly.
go.
Put me in alignment with you. Did mama tell you all the planets align, D?
Yeah, she told me that was happening.
Now let me tell you, your nephew said the same thing. He said, now is the time, Pop, for all of this to happen because the planets are in alignment. And this was before the planets was in alignment.
Oh, that Cam?
Damn.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This was right before we started the brand. Right before. You know, so like you said, there's my perspective and there's your perspective, but then there's God's perspective. Even tonight, y'all, this is what God wanted me and my brother to be doing. And we're reaching out to all y'all so you can get in alignment with it too.
I'm with that. And on that note, I know what we just said, but fuck it. All right, so it's up to it, down to it. Fuck those who don't do it. We do it because we used to it. Drink, motherfucker, drink. And on that note, we will catch y'all next week.
Yes.
Same motherfucking time.
Yes.
Same motherfucking channel. Make sure y'all subscribe. Check out the brand.
Yes.
And just be safe, man. You know what I'm saying? Stay focused. Stay disciplined. Stay dope.
Stay dope.